Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle Now. Ouch! My aching back. Do you have an achy back? Most Americans will tell you that their back aches, and I hear it all the time. So I have a number of stretches here in company with my newsletter of information, part 1, some beautiful stretches for your back. So this one we're just going to be using a basic mat, a wall, and you can use a towel. I'm going to use a band to help facilitate my stretch and make it go a little bit further. A lot of times with back, flexibility is an issue, so we're working on flexibility when we use the band to help us get to a place where we can't always get there ourselves. So our first stretch today is going to be a very simple stretch, but it's going to feel great. You're going to put your forearms on a wall, and you're going to turn your toes in the opposite direction, and trying to really focus on dropping those shoulders down. Make sure they're not up, and pushing through the whatever hip it is that is against the wall to the wall in front of you where you're looking, where your body is placed. So this is a really super stretch. I feel that in my upper back and my lower back. And you want to think about holding each stretch for 10 to 15 seconds. Now I'm going to buzz through these stretches, but you should hold them longer if you can. All right. And then I would change direction. Now you might find it's easier on one side than the other. That's the way it goes. C'est la vie. And this is a very beautiful stretch. Okay. To loosen up, I could also press my tops of my hands against that wall, dropping my shoulders down. Pressing into the wall with the tops of my hands, I feel my upper shoulders and my upper lats loosen up. I feel some loosening up there. So that's another nice one that we can use against the wall. When I come to the top of my mat, very simple stretch you can start every morning with is just touching your toes. Letting your head pull you down to the floor. Key here to try eventually to stay to a straight leg. If you're bending now, that's fine, but take an inventory every day. Try to straighten out the legs as much as possible. If it hurts, then just keep them bent, no issues. And then come to a place where your palms are flat on the mat, looking at your knees. You can feel that stretch all through the back of the legs and the lower back. Now I'm going to slowly roll up. I'm going to bend my knees. I want to bend my knees. I'm going to articulate through my back in what we call a cat pose, excuse me. So in cat, which can also be done on the floor, I'm articulating through my entire spine. And then I'm going to roll up, and roll those shoulders back for chest expansion. And then I'm going to do this 3 or 4 times. Roll up, articulating all the way through your vertebra, and rolling the shoulders back. Squatting down, rounding, arcing up. This feels so good. Okay, I'm going to take opposite arm to opposite foot. This is an oldie but a goodie. This is what we call a functional stretch. A lot of stretches now are no longer being held, no longer static stretches, but functional stretches or active stretches. Excellent. So now I'm going to have a seat on the mat and just do some simple variations that you can do. In 5 minutes, you can feel great in the morning. So putting the band on the bottom of my feet, you can use a towel, you can use anything that you can wrap around that feet and lean over. You can lean over and try and bring yourself down. Or you can come up to what we call staff pose in yoga. Just standing here, pointing the toes towards your head with the heels firmly on the floor. Nice stretch. Now again, that's the whole back of the legs and my full back. If I take my band, I put it on one foot and open my feet into a little bit of a V, and I just walk myself down and try and bring my head down here, keeping those feet toward the ceiling.
This is a nice stretch.
And then I would change feet. Bring your feet together for a groin stretch, right into the groin, dropping the legs off. Now here I'd like to either put my elbows on my inner thighs. I could do that alone if that's comfortable. Or if I wanted to push it, because I always like to push it, if any of you know me, push the envelope, I'd like to lean over and take this a little further for a nice groin stretch. And then we can do singles here. Single, flexed foot, reach over for it. You can use your band here again, dropping this leg off with an awareness of this hip staying as low as possible and not popping up when you're reaching for this opposite foot. Changing. On my back, this is a very nice lower back stretch. The knees are bent. All I'm going to do is keep them exactly where they are, but just drop them off to one side. Immediately I feel two things. I feel my hip release and I feel my lower back release. Super stretches. Then I would hug my knees into chest. This is a biggie for loosening up the lower back. We use this constantly in personal training. And then, if the client has the ability to fall with both legs over in a 90 degree, keeping shoulders flat, this is another great stretch. Okay, then I would switch sides. Come to all fours. Okay, so from here I would keep hands in line with shoulders, knees in line with hips, and I would articulate up my spine to the ceiling, looking at my belly button. And this feels great. Then I'd let my belly fall down to the floor, pulling shoulders back, and sticking my buttocks to the air and looking up to the ceiling. Really good stretches. You can have a seat now in what we call child's pose, but it's a great way to loosen up that lower back. Now some people may only be able to come here and keep a straight arm. Some people can bring those arms all the way down and get an upper shoulder stretch as they're sitting on those heels. And if you can't get to the floor, if you continue to do this stretch over time, you may find that you will be able to get to the floor. So I started to show you pigeon pose, but I wanted to show you another version of it. In pigeon pose, you slide back one leg, take this leg out front, and slide down over top of it. Again, if you feel comfortable staying up here, that's perfectly fine, where we're pressing through that hip to the floor. Really great. Make sure you're on top and not off to the side. It's really not doing you much good if you're off to the side. Walk down to the floor. Okay. So I hope you learned one or two new stretches today. If you were to repeat this every day for 5 minutes of your life, you would be doing a service for your body. 4 key elements to fitness, and flexibility is one of them. I hope you enjoyed. Ouch! My aching back.